a new bylaw in Calgary that prohibits certain types of protests. So, depending on the subject matter of the protest, near Calgary libraries or recreation centers. Now, the Canadian Constitution Foundation, which is the charity that Joanna and I both work for, we filed a legal challenge. Yoav Neve is our lawyer. Yoav, what can you tell me about the challenge that has been filed?
Thanks very much. So the starting point for the legal challenge is what we call judicial review. Judicial review is essentially a mechanism by which the courts supervise those who exercise statutory powers to ensure that they don't overstep what's known as their delegated authority. So in this case, the province has delegated certain authority to the municipality of Calgary to make certain laws. And what we had done is we had previously filed an application for judicial review, along with what's known as a notice to obtain records of proceedings. And this was served on the city of Calgary. And as of now, the next step to this legal challenge is we adjourn what's known as sine die until such time as the respondent, again, that's the city of Calgary, can provide and serve what's known as this record of proceedings. And what that is essentially is in order for the court to be able to review the decision-making process, which I'll get into, they have to see what specifically was before the tribunal that they're supervising or that they're essentially dictating whether or not the statutory powers were done reasonably or in accordance with the jurisdiction that was given to that body. And so the court then reviews it. And this specific application for judicial review is actually twofold. It goes, the essence of it is that the Calgary Council failed to sufficiently correctly and reasonably interpret the bylaw in the context of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. There's also within that, in that procedural fairness envelope, there's this issue with respect to the bylaw being rushed through, some councillors having issues with not being able to fully explore it. It was voted on very quickly. And so there's that aspect of the procedure which is being challenged. And the next aspect, which is obviously the one that's very important in this case, is the constitutionality of the bylaw itself, specifically as it relates to rights under Section 2 of the Charter relating to assembly and expression. And obviously, Section 7 of the Charter, given that there are dramatic implications to a person's liberty, right? We're looking at imprisonment as a possible penalty. So that's the context of the specific challenge that's being done.
Yeah, I mean, and those constitutional principles are incredibly important. And it's interesting that this bylaw was passed because there is an existing large body of case law about the right to freedom of expression. And as we said, there's a number of rights engaged here, including the right to liberty, because it comes with a term of imprisonment, including the right to assembly, which is somewhat underdeveloped right. But on expression, there's a lot of case law, and courts have long said that limits on expression must be content neutral. Joanna, what does that mean?
It means that the state cannot pick and choose which topics we're allowed to express ourselves on, under the presumption that the state doesn't know in advance what the correct position is about these contentious issues. Indeed, we have protests and civil society to sort out our views on things like abortion, LGBTQ rights, which could not have evolved without a very healthy, robust civil society. And so the content neutrality is just the state acknowledging that it can't control our thoughts, essentially.
Right. Yoav, we've got about 30 seconds left. Is there anything you want to add about why the principles at stake in this case are so important?
Well, the principles are important because let's remember here that we're talking about freedom of expression, which is grouped into several categories that are very important. There's individual self-fulfillment. Freedom of expression is a means of attaining the truth. It's a method of securing participation by members of the public, members of society in social and political decision making. And it's also a means of maintaining the balance between stability and change in
Right.
society.
Yeah.